Okay. Okay. Hey guys, Sarge here. I want to come talk to you guys real quick. This is kind of feeding off the video I did last talking about medical equipment. You guys should already know this is not how tourniquets should look. One of the topics that kind of got spun off of that is individuals who are maybe in the gun community, at shooting ranges, at gun stores, something to that effect, that we should maybe stay away from, and who are like the scariest people in the gun community or things to that effect, right? A lot of people will say it's that untrained individual who's the scariest one to deal with. I agree. However, I would even be more afraid of individuals who lie or expand upon their experience more than what it is, what I'm getting to. So, in many situations, I have encountered guys and gals who have zero experience in regards to relevant firearms information, relevance and gear information, things of that effect. They do not know what they're talking about, but they're the first ones to offer up their opinion on items. Now, when you look at them, normally they will tell you that they have an extensive history in law enforcement, military, something to that effect, okay? And that's what they'll really rely on. They have no relevant common day training, so like today's world, they have nothing, right? They haven't trained in years, but they'll tell you things that they did back in the 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago. They'll tell you about the one or two times that they were a cool guy. And that's what they'll build all their opinions off of, right? Well, do not take gear advice from them, okay? There have been many, many cases in my 10 years of doing things within the military, within the security field, things of that effect, where I've encountered a lot of guys and gals who they've done great things, but they leave after doing great things, and now they want to start giving people their opinions on things that maybe they're definitely not qualified to do. That is extremely dangerous, okay? And in my opinion, those are the second dangerous type of individuals to encounter within getting information in the gun community. They're not a part of the gun culture, okay? That's why I'm saying the gun community. They are the ones that will tell you, hey, I was in the Army. Hey, I was in the Marine Corps. This is what gives me this information. What I mean, while they're out at a shooting range, they really won't shoot in front of people. If they do, they'll shoot at very close distances. They will not actually do anything that tests their real abilities to shoot. If they shoot poorly, they'll blame it on the equipment, they'll blame it on the sights, they'll blame it on the trigger, they'll say it's a new gun they're testing out, so they're really not paying attention to it. Then they'll quickly shift to pointing out issues with you to take the heat off of them, right? Okay, all right, we can easily fight that one, right? If they actually had the resume they had, they wouldn't have the issues that they do have. Now, one thing I will tell you, if you guys are taking advice from those people and you are in an environment where you can immediately have them show it to you, I recommend doing it. One thing that I always do in all my classes, any of my students that watch these videos can attest to it, is I will staple up, they're like little 10 ring, I think they're shoot-see targets, so when you shoot them, they turn yellow or whatever, so you can see where the bullet holes went. I hang those up at the beginning of every single class. I have I have my students shoot 5 shots, and then I go and shoot 5 shots the same way my students did, all right? And I look at everybody and I say, hey, if you don't feel like I can teach you how to shoot, this class is free, okay? That's how I do it, okay? And then what I do is, this is the important part, is if those students leave and they can't shoot as good as I can, what was the point of me teaching them, okay? The students shouldn't be there to watch the instructor shoot. They should be there to learn something more than what they came there with, okay? And in many cases, talking about gear issues, right? If a competent individual is blaming shooting on the sights, their grouping will still be good, okay? What do I mean by that? I had a student who had, I'm trying to remember which gun it is, I'm not going to, but the sights were off on the gun, right? Well, all my shot groups were still in a very tight group, just to the right, okay? So just because the sight is off a little bit does not mean that now, oh, okay, that's why my shots are all over the place. Well, your shots should, just because the sights are off, they should still be in the same group. That's a whole other different issues, right? So just things like that. Now, whenever I'm having conversations with individuals, something you guys can maybe start feeding into, who say that they have an extraordinary shooting background or whatever it is, I'll generally start asking them, okay, what gun do you carry? Oh, I don't carry a gun. Okay. If you do carry a gun, what holster do you use? Oh, yeah, I don't really use a holster. Oh, okay. Hey, how do you grip a pistol when you're shooting it? And they'll always tell you these wild tales of, well, I grip it like this. And every time people told me I was gripping it wrong, I used to shoot a 2-inch group at 25 yards on, just all these feats that master marksmen cannot repeat every single day. So there's no way this guy who shoots once a year could do, right? And you know it's not true. So that's why I say in those situations, if you can have them immediately prove it, okay? If you are in the situations to where you're not at a shooting range or whatever, they can't immediately prove it, just know what to listen to, what not to listen to, okay? But those individuals that talk about military experience, law enforcement experience that they did 10 or 15 years ago, that doesn't mean that it's relevant for one. Also, something I want you guys to think about, if you came up to somebody and started asking them gun-related questions, or they start asking you stuff or telling you information, and you say, hey, what experience do you have that gives you the right, in a sense, to, give me all this knowledge that, you're giving me? What experience do you have that shows me that you know what you're talking about? And if they say, oh, I did 10 years in the Army, or I did 10 years in the Marine Corps, that does not tell you anything. That does not tell you anything, okay? It tells you nothing. They could have been a mechanic. They could have been a computer specialist. They could have been, a bunch of things. That does not mean that, that they know how to shoot and how to do certain things. A lot of normally infantry guys are not that great at shots with pistols. They're excellent shots with rifle, but they are not that good at shooters with pistols. Because as a base infantry guy, you're not going to be running a gun with a pistol too much. Okay, so just some things to think about with that. Just know, have some base information of who you're getting information from on how can I properly vet this individual. Okay, so those are the second group of guys, the guys that kind of lie about their experience with it. They kind of exaggerate things that they've done, and they can't show you proof of how well they've shot. Okay. I just don't, it's 2021, guys. If you're going to brag to me about you shooting 2 inches at 25 yards, 2 inches at 50 yards, and you can't do it in front of me, I want to see a video of it, or I just don't believe you. Okay? That's why I put all my shooting on YouTube. First group of guys that I'm worried about the most at a range, gun store, whatever it is, are groupies. What do I mean by groupies? So every tactical training instructor person in the world has a set of individuals that they attend all their classes, they buy all their merchandise, all their hats, their t-shirts, they buy all their stuff, right? They carry the gun that instructor has, they go and buy the holster that instructor has, they buy the belt he's got, all that stuff. They go and buy it all, right? Because they want to be just like him or her. Somewhere along the line, they get confused of who they are and what they're actually capable of doing, and they start taking that instructor's experience and passing off as their own, okay? Hey, I'm giving you this experience, I'm giving you this information because I trained with so-and-so, and he is a, whatever it is, experienced shooter. He is a grandmaster of shooting competitions. He is a Navy SEAL. He's a Green Beret. He's a whatever it is. And because I trained with him, I know everything he knows, right? No, that's not how that works, okay? It took them years to get those certifications, years of training experience. You did not get that in 8 hours of a training course, okay? You all need to understand the difference of anyone who shoots really, really well can train people to shoot really, really well. That doesn't mean that they can train them to apply tactics correctly, okay? Those are two different things. You could be an awesome shooter, you know, a fantastic shooter. You're shooting 2 inches at 25 yards. Yeah, I'll shoot me every day. Awesome, man. But if you don't know how to properly apply tactics, you're not going to last that long. Okay, and that's where when we do force on force classes, it's a great equalizer. Okay, personally, force on force classes are some of my favorite. I have little Walther force on force guns that I use. I think they're from T4E. Took them out there, and a lot of people who thought, man, I will tear this dude up. There were a couple competition guys. They did not last that long. Okay, and it was kind of very humbling even on my side too, because there were a couple times where I was like, man, did they shoot me with that? That was a pretty good shot, right? I'm not invincible, okay? But I was impressed with that. I was like, dude, I'm actually surprised you were able to get because one of them took a shot off the side of a car, and I was like, yeah, you got me with that. Good job. But being able to apply those tactics, that's what matters, okay? So good. Be a good shooter. Awesome. That is not the whole pie. It's a piece of it. Piece of it. Having good tactics, being able to apply them. Something to think about, guys. So let me know who the guys and gals are that you're most scared of at a shooting range or whatever it is, and maybe some of the stories and experience you guys have with those individuals, possibly some of those individuals I mentioned. As always, guys, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it greatly. There's a lot of good content coming out. As always, guys, stay tuned for more. Sarge out.